Thank you, Gavin. Thank you for that introduction. And thank you for being here tonight. On behalf of ANZ, I'd really like to welcome you here tonight. As you heard from Gavin, this is the 9th time that we've actually been one of the lead sponsors of this event. And it is an event that we are very privileged to be a part of, and actually started when Gavin and I caught up in Melbourne only some 9 years ago, and over a handshake we agreed to be a part of this. So it's an absolute privilege to be here. As you know, ANZ is a proud financier of the natural resources industry, and it's actually an industry where we've been involved in for some 150 years. There's some clients that have actually in this room tonight who we've had relationships with over that period of time, and it is a great privilege to have them here tonight. As you're aware, London and Melbourne have always played a very significant leadership role in banking to the global resources industry, and ANZ has been very much a major supporter of that since 1835. And now coming on to the main event. As you've just heard, we'll be hearing from Jean-Sébastien Jacques, who's Chief Executive of Rio Tinto, a company with incredibly strong links to both Melbourne and London. Joining JS on stage will be Lionel Barber, well known to many of you as the editor of the Financial Times. Lionel has been with the Financial Times as editor since 2005. His transformational leadership has seen the newspaper evolve into a multi-channel global news organisation. He has co-written several books and has lectured widely on foreign policy, transatlantic relations, European security and monetary union in the US, Europe, and appears regularly on TV and radio. As editor, he has also interviewed many of the world's leaders in business politics, including the former President of the United States, Barack Obama, and the current sitting US President, Donald Trump. He has also interviewed Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany as well. So I'd like to welcome, obviously, Lionel to the stage. JS needs very little introduction. Having enjoyed a global career in the mining and metals industry, he was appointed CEO of Rio Tinto's copper division in 2013. In 2016, he was appointed to Group CEO and has since led the business transformation by focusing on key Tier 1 assets, enhanced earnings and cash flow, reduced debt and increased returns for shareholders. Whilst this has led to some tough decisions to exit some long-held assets, the company's growth agenda has continued, as evidenced by the commissioning of the world-class Silvergrass iron ore project in Western Australia and the forthcoming commencement of the Amrun bauxite mine in Queensland. JS has also been responsible for Rio Tinto's enhanced focus on digital technologies, occupational health and safety, which we all know are the key requirements to survive in the 21st century. So welcome JS to the stage as well. Thank you.
Now, Jean-Sébastien, may I call you JS?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bon, bien.
Is that all you know in French or not?
Un tout petit peu, monsieur. Now, before we range widely across the world and the future of the mining sector, may I just say, very politely, how trim you look. Oh, very trim. How much weight have you lost since you became CEO?
15 is the number.
15. 15 ounces or kilos?
Come on.
Okay.
Kilo.
So I am very impressed.
What about yourself?
Me, I'm just stay where I am. Stay where I am. I do my exercises, and being a journalist, you stay trim. You stay trim. Ladies and gentlemen, you stay lean, and you stay hungry. Now, Jean, how did you lose the weight?
Running.
Running. How far?
5K every day.
On the machine or on the roads?
I try on the road. How many questions you have?
Loads. Loads. These are
it's not sounding very well,
these are the easy
honest,
ones.
Anyway.
So I'm looking at this trim CEO who does 5 kilometers every day, and I'm thinking this is a metaphor for how you've made Rio lose weight.
Oh.
I'm not a pussycat, ladies and gentlemen.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
You're on the roll.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you need the questions?
No.
Okay,
no, you can have them here. Let's just put them in the middle. Okay?
All right. Okay. That's not really the middle. Okay.
No, that's a little bit. No, just put that.
Is that your definition of the middle?
Joe, I can improvise. You try. What are you suggesting? Now, so let's look at the world. We have trade war. We have Trump. We have North Korea. We have England losing tonight. I mean, things are pretty bad.
Hold on. You know, you're supposed to cheer up the room.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're getting here.
How much time do you spend as the CEO worrying about politics and the political outlook?
All right. So on a serious note, is quite a lot is the answer. The truth of the matter is, if you step back, for the mining business, we have two key drivers. One is GDP, and the other one is trade. And if I use Rio as a proxy, 90%, 90, okay, c'est bon, 90?
90%.
Just to make sure you get it, you know?
Yeah.
90? Check. Maybe you need your glasses, all right? Okay, that's
Got
good.
it.
Okay.
Right, 90%.
So 90% of our product move from one country to another. That's the reality of it, okay? So for us, trade is really a question of survival, and that's why we're spending so much time on trade-related issues. So although we don't do politics, as a matter of principle, we don't do politics, I think it's important for all the governments to really understand what is at stake. And if I step back for the last 6 months, first 6 months of this year, 6 trips to Australia, 4 to China, 4 or 5, I can't remember, USA and Canada, and a few other bits and pieces, because it's absolutely essential that people understand how important it is for us.
Right. Are you worried about a trade war between the United States and China?
The honest answer is no, I'm not. Because I believe I'm the optimist. I don't know where you sit. Are you optimist?
I'm a cautious pessimist.
I've got no idea what we're going to read in the FT tomorrow morning anyway, but so no, I'll use the way I look at it is to say, you know, if you step back on the last 30 years, there is no doubt that trade was the key driver of growth and created lots of wealth globally. Having said that, it's absolutely clear that the model is being challenged because although people understand the benefit of free trade, what people don't always see is really, they don't see it as being fair or very balanced or being very inclusive. And I truly believe that if people really put the issues on the table in the appropriate manner, at the end of the day, common sense would prevail.
So Trump is right on the substance.
You know, I'm not going to answer this question.
He's right on the substance, but he's wrong on the way he's tackling it.
So let me put it this way.
I think that's what you said.
Well, you're trying to put words in my mouth.
Mais non.
Mais si.
Well, a little bit.
Un petit peu.
He's right on the substance, wrong on the means.
I think, let me put it this way, is wherever we go, and it doesn't matter if it's in Australia or in China or the US or in Canada, is clearly people are saying, hold on, the model is not inclusive enough, and it's absolutely clear we're going to have to move from a purely transactional model to a more strategic model. And here, let's be blunt, we hear the same thing in the US or in China at this point in time. People are no longer interested in the purely transactional model, which has been very successful for all of us for the last 30, 40, 50 years, no doubt about it. But looking forward, a purely transactional model is not sustainable.
Right, we're gonna come to that, but you mentioned China. Is the Chinese economy slowing down? And how worried are you, given Rio's enormous dependence and on the iron ore market in China?
Yeah, so for us, China is very important. It's 45 to 50% of our turnover, depending on the year. It's 75% of the earnings of the company. So you can understand we spend a lot of time in China, try to understand what happens. Is the Chinese economy slowing down? The answer is yes. Do we believe that the Chinese economy is going to crash overnight like some people believe in the US? The answer is absolutely not. We are pretty confident that the Chinese government will be able to manage their debt level and we truly believe that the restructuring of the heavy industry is sustainable. So are there going to be some bumps on the road? Yes, and we have to be ready for that. But from a purely Rio standpoint, and I'll be very selfish on this one, as long as I have the right assets, world class, low cost, as long as I've got the right quality of product, as long as I've got the right supply chain and the right relationship with the customers, then I won't have a problem. I'll be able to generate a lot of cash in order to be able to reinvest for the future and pay dividend to the shareholders. And that's what we're focusing on. So there are a lot of things that we can't control, back to your initial question about trade. I think it's important for us to make the case very clear so people understand what is at stake. But at the end of the day, I can only focus on what I can focus, what is controllable. And for me, it's about my cost. It's about the quality of my product, the quality of the relationship with the customers, and therefore continue to make money.
You gave a recent important speech on the rise of resource nationalism. What do you mean by that? And what can companies, huge companies like Rio, do about it?
Yes, so I think you're referring to a speech in Miami. Resource nationalism has been there forever, all right? But what is absolutely clear is in the last 6 to 12 months, we've seen an increase of resource nationalism everywhere. And nobody should be surprised. Look at the last couple of years. The industry has been making a lot of money. Everybody is making money. I mean, if you don't make money today, you got a serious problem, if I'm honest. So people look at us and saying, hold on, how can you make so much money? And therefore,
how
everybody...
can you make so much money?
Well, we're working hard. The team is working hard, all right?
Sorry, can I just write
this
can
down? You write this one? Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Right. Team is working very hard.
Well, except a few people in this room for obvious reasons, but I'll deal with them after. So let's be clear. When we make so much money, what happens is everybody wants a bigger share of the cake, okay? And what we are experiencing today, and it's not only about Rio, it's across the industry. Look what's happening in the DRC and a few other countries, is everybody is saying, I want to have a bigger share of the cake, and people believe, or communities or government believe they have a yes card, and they're just coming with the yes card and asking for more money. That is the reality we are dealing with. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is, I've got no doubt that inflation is coming back very fast. Very fast. I'm not sure the entire industry is acknowledging it today, but inflation is coming very, very fast. And the same logic, suppliers, employees, contractors want to have a bigger share of the cake. So the truth of the matter is there are a few things we can do. One is we need to tell in a much better way our contribution to society. The industry has not done a good job in the last 10, 15 years. That's absolutely clear. If we can't explain in simple terms to Joe Blogg in the street that we are here for the long term, we have invested a lot of money, and we're having a positive impact on society in terms of jobs, in terms of procurement, in terms of tax, royalties, even in terms of pension. Guess who's paying the pension in Australia at this point in time? Huh? I mean, if I look at the example of Australia, lots of people are complaining about big businesses, but they all have their superannuation. I can tell you everybody who's in the superannuation scheme have Rio Tinto shares or PHP shares and so on and so forth, and people don't acknowledge the point. So we need to tell our story in a much better way.
How are you going to tell it? In social media, on television, or what?
Well, maybe not television, but there are lots of other ways to do it. I think we need to step up our game. But, we can do lots of stuff, even through the EFT, by the way.
We're here to serve.
At a small fee, yeah. The truth of the matter is, I don't think that is the best way to do it. Sorry, not the FT, but... or maybe the FT as well. The best way to do it, and it's a very serious point here, is to make sure that all our employees become the best ambassador of the company. Yeah. If our employees at the barbecue, at the Barbie, or the pub, I'm not suggesting you should go to the pub, by the way, can tell the story in simple terms and display that they are proud of working for this mining industry, I think we'll go a long way. Because that's what it is about. At the end of the day, that's what we're saying. It's we're no longer a B2B, business-to-business situation. It has to be what we call B2P, business to people. We need all our employees, all our colleagues to tell the story in a very compelling way to Joe Blogg on the street. and so on and so forth. Because otherwise, everybody's going to say, you a bunch of greedy bastards, or whatever word you want to use. And if we can't change the narrative, tell what's going to happen is everybody's going to knock on the door and say, we want a bigger share of the cake. The fact we spend billions and billions of dollars is no longer relevant. The fact that we're going to have, all of us, to spend a lot of money now to replace the mine in the coming 5 to 10 years is not relevant.
Right. Now, I'm so glad that you mentioned...
About the FT?
No, about the DRC. The DRC.
Congo, pour vous.
The Congo. And do you think that Glencore's payment, I think it was 5 billion, do you think that was helpful?
Oh, you know my policy on this one is never say anything about competitors, but you can say it.
You can trust me. I mean, you know. But was it helpful? I mean, 5 billion. I mean, what kind of precedent does that set? JS.
I'm working for Rio. I'm not working for Glencore.
Right.
No.
Right. So it was helpful.
You're not going to put any words in my mouth.
Well, it helped somebody. It helped somebody.
Woo.
I think
I thought some of your colleagues over there on table 23 over there may have written a few articles about it.
Right. Right.
I see them running away already. Huh?
Well,
so on a serious note, I'm not going to make any comment about Glencore. That is absolutely inappropriate. No. But I think what's happening in the DRC is a good example, is a very real, practical example of what resource nationalism is about.
Okay, inflation. You've just raised the spectre of inflation in a way that no central banker that I've talked to recently would have expressed it. So what kind of inflation are we looking at? 3%? Or you're surely not thinking 4 or 5%, are you?
I'm not.
Or is it just in your sector? Wage inflation.
It's across the patch. I mean, energy is clear now. It's already documented. Now, in the if I look at all geographies where we operate, when you tender new pieces of work, people are coming back with double-digit numbers.
Double digits?
Yes.
Is that 10% or 15% or 20%?
Double digit. Deux chiffres.
Deux chiffres.
D'accord. J'ai pas dit 3, j'ai dit 2 chiffres.
90?
No. Try again.
Okay, all right.
I've got no doubt that we will experience increase in terms of contracting, in terms of employee cost. It's coming. We see it.
Let's move to another part of the world that you pay more than the occasional visit to, which is Mongolia.
One of your colleagues was there over there.
Yeah, I have no way of pronouncing this correctly, but I believe it's Oyutoigi.
Oyutogoi.
Oyutogoi. Don't you swear at me. Sorry, Oyutogoi. Oi, you. Just tell me, were you perhaps a little too aggressive in the terms that you struck with the Mongolian government and are now paying the price?
Oh, I can't believe who wrote this question over there.
Actually, I've just made it. It was a softball question. I just made it a lot harder.
So, you know what? I'm going to use one number, which was developed by the World Bank. It was a study done a few years ago who said Mongolia will get around 75% of all the benefits of a Oyutogoi without putting any dollars at risk on day one. I think that's a pretty good deal. Right. What do you think?
It sounds good. I guess I'd have to look at the paper.
Which paper?
The contract, the deal that you struck.
I'll tell you something. Everything is on the internet.
If you want to put it in the post, I'd be very...
No, you don't need to. You have an iPhone?
Yes.
I can show you it's on the internet.
Okay.
Well, it's totally transparent.
All right. Very good. Very good. Now, I know that everybody in this room is always fascinated when they see these important, powerful CEOs. They're really interested in their management style. And as a British citizen with a fluent command of the English language, is it true that when you started, you said to colleagues, well, you can fit in or fuck off?
I think some of your very senior ministers said it to the business community last week as well. And to be honest, softball for you. I can't believe I could read in one article in the FT with the F word 3 times in the same article. I mean, your standard is going down.
Yeah. Well,
don't fuck it up.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
you don't know what to say.
No. Well, I was.
You're speechless.
Not quite. Not quite.
How
Look,
could
listen.
you let it go?
I banned fuck for 9 years, and then I just got through.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's absolutely correct.
You did say that.
It's.
You did say that.
It was in. It was in Australia, so you remember the F word can be used as a punctuation over there. I'll tell you a story. We had a big project in South Africa, and we had a contractor who was using people from South Africa and from Australia. Massive issue, and we had to organize some cultural awareness workshop to explain to our South African colleague that when the Aussies are using the F word, they don't mean it. It's just a punctuation, so don't feel offended if you use the F word. So that's right. So yes, I did say it in a response to a question in a town hall, big crowd of people, and people said, how are you going to deal with the dead wood that we have in this company? Because we have lots of dead wood. You have lots of people who don't comply with the safety rules, so what are you going to do? So I said, I'm in Australia, I'm going to make it very simple for everybody to understand. Either on safety, there is no room for maneuver whatsoever. Either you are safe, you don't put your life at risk, and you don't put the life of your colleagues at risk, or you bugger off. So yes, I've said it, and if I had to say it again to the same question, I would say it exactly the same answer. Is either you comply with the safety rules of the group, because there is nothing more important than safety, or you bugger off.
Great. Now,
you want the French version of it? No. Okay, let's carry on.
Fous-moi le camp.
Voilà, il faut voir s'améliorer. Hein?
Okay. Anyway, let's talk about the future of the mining industry. You've thought about that. You're very interested in how technology will change the future of the mine, the way people work. Do tell the audience a little bit share some of your reflections.
Yes, I think technology is absolutely essential for us. I've got no doubt in my mind, and I use an example. If you look at the Pilbara, or iron ore world-class asset in Oz, 16 mines, 1,700 kilometers, 4 ports. It's very difficult for any human being, even if you've got 2 brains, 3 brains, to optimize it anymore. It's far too complicated, okay? And therefore, we're going to have to bring artificial intelligence into the system to be able to optimize it, all right? And the vision, I didn't say the dream, the vision, because it will happen, will be to connect the blast furnace in terms of burden management, either in China, in Japan, and the mining plan of one of our Pilbara mine going forward. To go down this road, we believe that we'll be able to unlock maybe 20, 25, maybe 30% of latent capacity that we have in the system. That's what the prize is about, all right? Is it going to take some time? The answer is yes. Are we making good progress? Yes, we have today the largest autonomous fleet of trucks. We have, as you know, for now 4 or 5 weeks, we have the approval to run the entire train in the Pilbara on an autonomous mode. Just imagine 1,700 kilometers with no drivers, all right? It's not like in a tube in London when it works. So it means not in winter and not in summer.
But there are leaves on the line.
So you just imagine this big system with no drivers and so on and so forth. So it's you know, people used to say boys with toys, but I can tell you, first of all, there are too many boys in this room, by the way. I think let's put it this way.
With the exception of table 49.
Yeah, 49 is over there.
There we are. Table
Absolutely.
49. All ladies. Thank
and
you
we
very
need
much.
more of those for obvious reasons. But clearly, if you look at it, we'll have an autonomous train system. We'll have already the ports are more or less autonomous. We'll have autonomous trucks, and we have autonomous drill rigs. Okay, but that's the fixed asset. The real price is not there. The real price is about the optimization of the mining plan and connect the mining plan to the needs of the customers and so on and so forth. Big piece of work.
Rio's workforce has halved, the permanent workforce, over the last decade. Do you think in the next 10 years your workforce will halve as well, permanent?
I can't give you a number, but I'm very conscious that there will be an impact on jobs.
Yeah.
Technology will create new jobs, but different jobs. And I'll give you one example. 5 years ago, when we did recruit 100 engineers, I would say 2/3 of them were mining-related engineers. Yeah. I've got no doubt that 5, 7, 10 years down the road, first of all, we may need more than 100 engineers. But for the sake of argument, let's use a number of 100. 2/3 of them will be data scientists, artificial intelligence, operational optimization, and so on and so forth. We still need a few mining engineers, but we're going to need more and more people who can optimize systems on the back of data, which is a massive challenge for us and the entire industry, because at this point in time, you'll be in direct competition with Microsoft. I was going to say GE, but I don't think GE is a good example anymore.
Right.
Microsoft or Rolls-Royce or any of the other engineering companies. So it's going to be a big challenge for us because we need to attract the best talent that we can, and we know that we're going to have to change. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is there could be a reduction of people, and that's clear in the local communities. And we acknowledge the point, and that's why we're working already with communities and the government to make sure that we find a way to reskill the people. So if we don't have a job for them, they are well placed to find jobs elsewhere and so on and so forth. Long way ahead of us.
Yeah. Now you'll be glad to hear that we're coming towards the end of this fascinating conversation. And here we are, as Mike Gatting reminded us this evening, we are in the home of cricket. And so you will be very familiar with the concept of the googly.
No idea what you're talking about, but keep going.
Well, the googly is something that is bowled out of the back of the hand, and you think it might go one way, but it goes the other. And that's what this question's going to be like.
All right, go for it. What did you say, googly?
Would Mick Davis have been a great chairman of Rio Tinto?
Who knows?
Well, what kind of answer is that? I mean, that's your off-stump bail just gone flying into the...
And just bat it away.
Okay, right.
Can I claim bad light?
My paper's back, by the way. Right, go on. Yeah, go on.
Can I claim bad light?
Would he have made a good chairman?
Hold on, I've got a new...
Could you have worked with him?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
Thank you. I've got a new chairman, Simon Thompson. He knows the industry. Yeah. He's been a miner.
Yeah.
He knows the industry pretty well, and we're getting on very well.
I think that's a really good answer. Yeah. Now, can I have my papers back, because I need the last bit, because otherwise, thank you very much. Merci. Merci. Can you... You don't need to take your trousers down. It's okay. Right.
It depends on the question.
No, you can't do that. All right. Right. All right, but you'll spoil the long short.
Stop.
Right. Okay. This is
How
like
do
Michael
you see the
Parkinson.
mining industry today? Seriously, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, right. Okay, you can ask me the question then.
Is resource nationalism on the rise? Okay, ticks, it's done. All right, okay, let's keep moving. Management style, oh, give me a break. You've already done the 15 or fuck off, that's done. Would you admire in the industry? Do you have any other questions? Long short.
You can't do the long short.
Okay, I can't do that.
No. You need to go to the next one.
How will the competitive landscape change? Will Rio still be competing against BHP, Glencore, Anglo-American in 20 years?
I didn't ask those boring questions.
Fucking hell, I mean, seriously. I can't believe this one. Seriously, you got too many people working for you, huh?
Now, I'd just like to point out Jean-Sébastien.
There is nothing written on this page, so you need to turn it around.
There's nothing on here. Now, I'd just like to say, just for the record, Jean-Sébastien, that the
You know, the only person who called me Jean-Sébastien is my wife when I'm in the doghouse.
Right. Okay. Good.
And sorry to let you know, but you don't qualify.
By the way, the permanent workforce of the FT is 5 more than it was when I took over as editor 12 years ago.
Yeah. And what about
Just want to point out that.
What about digital? Okay.
Now you're going to play. You've got to play long short with me.
Oh Christ.
Okay. So here we go. You know this. You have to say whether it's long or short. You have to answer immediately. You don't have to equivocate. And
you're looking for the page.
Yeah, I have. Anyway. Yes.
So where is the score, by the way, between England and...
We lost 1-0.
But I thought if you were to lose, it was a good thing, because the next round was easier. It sounds like cheating to me, but it doesn't matter.
You can quote me on this. You can't game the World Cup.
Really? Oh.
I just came up with that, by the way.
I just couldn't believe it today. I mean, I read the FT for once.
Sure. Yeah.
Couldn't believe you had an article about football.
We just put the German footballers fans on the front page. Okay.
All right. So long shot. You want me to find the right page?
No, it's okay. I can't remember what it is. But so we'll do 3. We'll do 3 or 4, right? Les Bleus.
Bleu. You talking about rugby or football?
Football.
Short. No bloody way they're going to win. I mean, seriously.
Okay. Brexit.
It's going to be short and long-lived.
Mongolia.
Long.
London.
Long.
Sydney.
Oh, long.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay. We are going to take some questions from the floor.
Sorry. Yeah.
So we haven't finished there.
Yeah, right,
we have microphones with Rob
I'm
Kennedy
sorry,
and Sam Street.
Right. Yeah.
Both take a question.
Yeah.
Both take a seat, please, because there may very well be a question for you, Lionel, about different things. Yeah. So, Rob, you're there. Sam, questions from the floor?
Yeah, questions.
Any question for the FT? I mean, that's the time to do it. I mean, forget about Rio for one.
Okay, JS, we have a question over here.
All right.
Sir, could you please stand up and identify yourself?
Hi, Mitch Lim from Tamasis Partners. So I was reading in the FT, I think today or yesterday, that CapEx budgets amongst the top 20, 30, 40 mining companies are at lowest levels since 2006 or so. But at the same time, equity capital markets for junior and mid-tier companies still remain quite difficult. No one's throwing money at the junior end of the market, where the exploration sort of traditionally might happen. So where are the next big discoveries coming from?
I think I've got a few exploration people. Where are they? They're hiding now. The challenge we have is, well, first of all, to find new world class, it's pretty difficult. Okay. From a Rio standpoint, is we never stop exploration budget, including at the time on the back of the GFC. We did continue. We spend around $200 million per annum on exploration. We had to refocus our programs in light of resource nationalism, if I'm honest. So we did exit a few countries because it's nice to find something, but you're not sure you're going to be able to hold on to it. So today the bulk of our exploration budget is spent in the Americas. It's copper, but it's other commodities. Yeah. Trust me, I put our exploration people under pressure every day of the week to make sure they find something. Exploration is a long game. We have to be patient. It is clear that all the easy ones have been found, and therefore you got a choice, more or less, in very simple terms. Is either you're going to go, especially in the context of copper, that where everybody's get excited as we speak, is you're going to have to go underground, so more difficult to find, or you have to go to more challenging geographies. And today, from our perspective, is happy to spend some money, a small portion of the budget in those challenging geographies, but the bulk of it cannot be in those geographies. Okay, we all know, if I use copper as an example, we all know where the copper is. But today, for a company like Rio to do exploration in East Russia, it's very difficult. I simply cannot do it. That's where we are. So I think it's fair to say that growth is back on the agenda, although we are not under pressure to grow for the sake of it. That's the first point. The second point, which is very important from our perspective, is to say, when we talk about growth, it's about growth in terms of cash flow. And today, the best source of additional cash flow that we have is through productivity, is through digital, is through artificial intelligence. We've got $50 billion of invested capital, and the best yield for us is to drive our assets much harder. We've got plenty of options, but we need to find a way to unlock this latent capacity. Now, as and when we do that, we have a choice to make. In terms of productivity, you have two ways to value it. Either you sell more with the same cost structure, if the market conditions are there, or you sell the same quantity of product with a different cost structure. And that will be a decision we make asset by asset, market by market. That's what we call value over volume. But it's absolutely clear we want to unlock this latent capacity. It's back to the previous question about technology. We know that that's the best source of additional cash flows in the coming years. But at the same time we know that we need to invest for the very long term, and that's why we continue investing in exploration.
Okay, we have a question up here. And down this end, you've got to lift your game down this end of the pavilion. Rob's got a question. So here we are.
G'day, JS. My name is Matt Hassan from Numis. My question is, who today is your favourite institutional shareholder?
Oh.
And who is your favourite shareholder you've not yet got but you really want to get with?
You know, I'm in a closed period now, so I can't answer any of those questions. I got the email from compliance this morning, so I have to comply with the emails now. No, I think I'll try to answer in a slightly different way. The challenge and the opportunity for the industry is the following: and to be fair, having been in the chair for 2 years, I've been not struggling, but you could argue struggling to some extent with this question. We make investment for the next 20, 40, 50 years, 100 years, okay? And at the same time, if you look at the breakdown of the shareholders that we have across the industry, you got very few of those who have a 20, 30, 40, 50-year perspective, all right? And we have lots of marginal buyers into the system. And the reason why we have so many marginal buyers is because, let's call a spade, is the industry did destroy lots of value and did blow it in the last 10 years, 15 years, all right? And until we restore our credibility, the trust of our shareholders, it's going to be challenging, all right? So the opportunity for us, I mean, maybe another way to look at it is to say, and that's pretty sad what I'm going to say, look at the level of returns we are doing, and at the same time, look at the valuation multiple that we are enjoying as an industry. This is shocking. I mean, the industry is trading, what, 6, 7, 8 times EBITDA? We should be trading at 10, 12, much closer to an industrial company when you look at the level of cash flows and dividends and so on and so forth. But we can't do it, we don't do it, because of the last 10, 15 years where we did blow it. So the opportunity for us is really to restore our credentials, to be very disciplined in terms of capital allocation, in terms of return to our shareholders, and over the years, I truly believe that we as an industry will be able to restore our valuation multiple, and then at that point in time, we'll have a different class of shareholders.
Okay, we have one question here and perhaps one after that. So, sir?
My name's Bill Clough. I've got a company called Colmy Iron in Brazil. One of the things that happened when you took over was there seemed to be like a bit of a tussle within Rio Tinto regarding iron ore and non-ferrous, and the question of Simandou divestiture seemed to be quite a controversial decision, especially when it went to the Chinese, who obviously wanting to replace Rio Tinto and the main suppliers. So I'm just interested in your reflection on that decision, and whether that was, the right approach.
I mean, we took a decision to exit Simandou. It's a complicated set of discussion between several parties, the government of China, through a series of SOEs, Rio Tinto, and the government of Guinea. Discussion is still underway, and as you can understand, those are private conversations. I can't make any other comment above and beyond that.
Okay, sir.
Hello, my name is Benjamin from Coke Resources. You talked about the AI being the future of Rio. What about the EV story? Is that a challenge or an opportunity for you and Rio?
Yeah, I think we believe in the EV or electrical vehicle revolution. We believe it will happen. We believe that we are well placed in terms of aluminium and in terms of copper. But the question we are facing at this point in time is, should we enter into other commodities, mainly around the battery technology, to see if we can even further benefit from it? And that's what we are. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. And that's what we are looking at. So do we believe in EV? The answer is absolutely yes. We believe it will happen first in China. And we're trying to position ourselves in the best possible way.
Okay.
No question on the left.
Rob, you've got a question over here.
Hi, Fred Bell from Elemental Royalties. One of the new initiatives at Rio has been the Ventures team, and I was just wondering what you're looking for from them.
It's back to the question that was just asked. The Ventures is really looking at what commodities should we enter in order to benefit even further from the EV technologies, and we're looking at lithium, nickel, and a few others, but I don't think I should say much more than that at this stage.
Okay, Rob, there's one question over the back, and we might call it a...
I think we need a question from table 49, no?
Table 49, of
yeah,
course.
It's a good table, yeah. I mean, I'd be very disappointed if we don't get any question from there, yeah?
Come on, table 49.
They told me they will have lots of questions for you, by the way. They had a question about diversity at the FT.
Like a female editor.
Yeah, I mean, all the blokes.
Yes, my deputy is a lady.
Yeah, all the blokes you brought this morning.
In charge of America is a lady.
Okay, cool. And then that's
more?
2.
We got 4 in the leadership.
So anyway, once upon a time there was a question over here.
Sorry, let's go back to 49.
Please stand up, sir or ma'am.
Yes, Rio Tinto is built on world-class assets. I wonder why you chose to exit the hard coking coal deposits in Australia.
Yeah, no, that's right. I'll answer this question. So, in the last couple of years, we've exited both thermal coal and coking coal. The rationale is slightly different from one to the other. We believe in the coking coal industry in terms of attractiveness. However, the assets we have in Queensland are very good, hence the valuation we did extract, $4.25 billion. However, we don't regard them as world-class assets in the definition of Rio Tinto. That's the first point. The second point, and maybe I should step back on this one, we did a pretty comprehensive asset portfolio review a couple of years ago. We said, despite having one of the best balance sheets across the industry, we said that we would be focusing our dollars only in very few areas, iron ore, for example, copper, aluminium, and bauxite, and therefore we would have to make some choices. Strategy is about making choices. At that point in time, we said, well, the coking coal assets, although they are very good, will not attract further investment, and therefore our duty is to find a new home for those assets, and that's exactly what we've been doing, and the $4.25 billion of cash that we expect to get on our balance sheet between now and the end of this year. So it's not a negative view on the industry, quite the opposite. We believe in coking coal. However, it's the asset and the choices we have to make in terms of allocating our dollars going forward.
Okay, we have one question here and then one question there, and we might call it a close.
Hi, JS. Since you did open up the diversity thing, Melinda Moore from Women in Mining, the bad Table 49er. I asked one of your competitors earlier tonight what they were going to be doing about the Hampton-Alexander targets, which by 2020 means that FTSE 100 companies need to have not just 33% of women on their board, but also 33% in Exco and 33% of direct reports. Your competitors said they were going to try sex change. Is that what Rio intends to do also, or do you have a different strategy?
No, all right, so I won't go that far. So,
you mean you personally, or the whole team?
Don't get excited, all right? I think it's a very important question, and I really regret that there is only one table 49 tonight, if I'm very honest. Not because of the quality of the question, but I think that there is a fundamental point here. As you said, diversity is absolutely essential for us. Now, maybe you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but for us, diversity is not only about gender, but it's about nationalities and experience. And you can understand when you operate in 35 different countries, and I need to secure my license to operate, my partnership to operate in all those countries, I need to have people coming from all those different regions where I operate, all right? And the challenge today at Rio is that although we're making good progress, we still don't have enough people from the different regions where we operate. That's the first point. The second point is, for us, the business case for diversity is not even for discussion. We take it as a given. And the best example we have, back to Oyu Togoi, I'll explain to you how you say it after. The best operation we have across Rio Tinto today in terms of safety performance, in terms of productivity of the trucks, and in terms of diversity is Mongolia today. All right? So we've got 14,000 people working in Mongolia. 9 out of 10 are Mongolian nationals, and more than 40% are female. And today I can say the best engineers we have in Mongolia are female engineers, and so on and so forth. So for us, from our perspective, the case for diversity is not even to be proven. It is there. We have the facts to prove it. The question is, how do we make it happen? For your information, we've got more than 30% of the Exco at Rio who are female. And we have a few other nationalities, including Mongolian nationals. But it's absolutely clear that if you go to the next layer, we still have a long way to go, but we're working on it. I will not take a target for the sake of it. But what I can point is the fact that 2 years ago, we had 18% of our top leaders female, and today we are 22%. So I'm not going to make big statements about where we're going to be in 4 or 5 years from now. We're just moving down the road, slowly but surely. If we can move faster, we will do it. Trust me on this one.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. One last question down here. Thank you, Rob.
Hi, JS, Gillian Davidson, Director, New Gold and Lydian, to keep the diversity theme, and women always gets the last word, I believe. My question's about partnerships. Rio Tinto recently announced a really exciting new partnership with Alcoa and Apple, and really made us think about looking forward. What's the role of partnerships and new types of partnerships, especially with our downstream players and our customers, because we're traditionally a little bit blinkered and siloed. And so I'm interested in your perspective on, as we move forward as an industry, how we're going to work with these new partnerships and who will they be with?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And with some of our colleagues, we were in Japan and China 2 weeks ago, where we met with some of our stakeholders, either suppliers, customers, and so on and so forth. And there is no doubt in our mind that we're going to have to redefine how we engage with suppliers and customers. We're going to have to, a purely transactional model is not going to work going forward. And we need to build some kind of ecosystem where we are much more integrated in the way we do business. Now, having said that, I want to be very clear. We have no intention to invest downstream. Okay? We used to be there. We're not going back there. Right? However, I think the example you were referring to, which is our partnership with Alcoa and with Apple to develop a totally green technology for aluminum, is a good example of what we could be doing with customers. And without saying too much, we are looking at other similar type of partnership with not our customer, but the customer of our customers, all right? And because there is a trend, some people call it the circular economy, which is about recycling and so on and so forth, and we believe that we can provide part of the solution in terms of recycling the minerals or the metals, and in order to provide a much more sustainable solution. So that's one aspect. But the other aspect, which is very important, and it's still early days, is around suppliers. We're going to have to redefine the way we engage with the suppliers, because no lack of respect for any suppliers in this room, today the model doesn't work. And I'll give you a very simple example. If you are providing trucks or shovels, you have very little interest in improving the productivity of the mining business, because otherwise you will buy fewer trucks or diggers or dozers and so on and so forth. So unless we find a way to incentivize all the different parties to grow the pie together, and then we can fight on how we share the pie, then it's not going to work. And some of the industries are already doing it. So, in some industries, people are renting by the hour. Maybe we'll rent the trucks by the hour, or maybe we'll rent the trucks by the rock. This kind of stuff. In the sense of, our business is not to run trucks. Sorry for anyone in the room. Our business is not to run trucks. Our business is to find new resources, bring them online, run them, bring those materials to the market, and then close those mines. All right? We're going to have to rethink how it's going to be done, but it's absolutely clear that a purely transactional model is not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable in the medium and long term. So I see lots of opportunities in that space. Some of the industries are much more advanced than where we are in this domain. We just have to copycat and move faster in that. And I can tell you, all suppliers, either in Japan or in the US, without giving any names, I think you can find who they are pretty quickly, or in China, are really open for those conversations, because they know that the current model doesn't work. This whole game, every year where you play the market share in order to get some better terms and conditions, is not going to take us where we want to be. So the opportunity there, we acknowledge we have to redefine the business model with our suppliers and our customer, or the customer of our customers. We just have to do it.
Great. Thanks, Jace. Okay, members and guests, we've come to that part of the evening. We have a vote of thanks, or for our guest speaker, JS, and also for Lionel Barber. Please welcome to the stage our principal sponsors, Lorraine Meldrum from Swan Global and Patrick Smith from AMC Consultants. Richard, would you bring those around here, please?
First, it was in Melbourne, November 2016, for Swan Global to welcome JS to that Grace Melbourne Mining Club event. Now it is in London, June 2018, for me to thank JS for speaking at a Great Melbourne Mining Club event this evening. Summing up JS and the Rio under his direction, I could use 3 words: focus, results, dividends. 3 great attributes for the head of a public company. Not all companies deliver them. JS does.
Members and guests, could you please join us to thank JS and Lionel?
Alexander, that's that 1958 Grange Hermitage I promised you a couple of years ago. The one that got someone in trouble. And Lorraine, here's a special guest for JS, okay? I think you'll find this wonderfully interesting.
I need to open it?
Yes.
I've got my compliance officer over there. Can I open it?
That's a diamond drill bit.
No diamonds, huh?
No, it's tungsten, I think. It's all right, we got it from Rio. We did. Members and guests, would you please welcome Lionel Barber for his entertaining moments, and JS for an intriguing discussion tonight. Thank you, gentlemen. Lorraine, Patrick, photo op. Lionel, photo op. Photo op. While we're taking the photo op, members and guests, please continue to enjoy the rest of the evening. There's plenty of time to come, and there's good cheese and bickies. Thank you.